This is a montage I made from a clip of a podcast on Blogging Heads TV between Robert Wright, one of the top evolutionary psychologists in the world, and pretty much the go-to guy for questions involving why we are so good at lying to ourselves. He is also the proprietor of said podcast. And Gideon Rozin, professor in and chair of the Princeton Philosophy Department, which is perennially rated in the top 10 academic philosophy departments in the world. And here we go.
Yeah, I mean, while we're on this slightly wild stuff, it's not as if we couldn't start getting evidence for some version of the simulation hypothesis or the dream hypothesis. Things are humming along pretty smoothly now, but if you started to...
Speak for yourself, but go ahead.
Ditto, Robert Wright, 100% ditto.
If you started to detect intimations that there was a kind of creative intelligence behind the unfolding course of events that you couldn't find in the unfolding course of events. You know, the kinds of coincidences.
Synchronicity.
You know, the kinds of coincidences. I mean, someone could just sort of peel back the curtain and start saying,
"So, Alice, Dorothy, Neo, and Morpheus, why so serious?"
Peel back the curtain and start saying, "You can't see me, but you can hear me, and I'm telling you, I wrote the program that you are a part of." You know, that kind of thing, I guess, could happen, and you'd think you were losing your mind. But
that
you could also
that
start
is what
getting...
we say about people who say things like that, yes, that they are losing their mind.
So, speaking of crazy, Carl Jung, arguably one of the most influential psychologists since its inception in the 1870s, lost his mind twice, I believe. Once in a library and once on a train. And what his delusion consisted of was, at least one of the times, seeing that the streets were running with blood. Now, this was on the eve of World War II. So as I was watching a video filmed at the Library of Congress with a Jungian exhibit with the Red Book as its center point, a top Jungian psychologist said that in his mind, what that was Jung's subconscious, the collective unconscious, reaching out and being like, "Jung, man, you got to wake up, like now."
But you can also start getting subtler, more interesting intimations, like the intimations that you get in dreams.
Dreams being a subject of curiosity and interest now, then, and I would imagine since the dawn of man. And I'd imagine if Carl and Sigmund were here, they would both find the Schillmann's line of thinking interesting, especially Carl Jung, who had an affinity for that which is unexplainable and arguably spiritual or kind of metaphysical.
That there's more going on than could be going on if the only intelligences in reality were the intelligences that we see.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a pretty well-rounded sort of guy.
Well-rounded, and I'd wager firmly planted and grounded in reality as we know it, with one foot in a knowledge base of what is known, and the other foot willing to take a step to understand that which we simply do not yet know, which is arguably the final frontier, to be able to truly want to oppose confirmation bias, cognitive dissonance, and to want to know that which is thoroughly inconvenient.
Could be going on if the only intelligences in reality were the intelligences that we see.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a pretty well-rounded sort of guy, but I have time for the idea that that sort of thing is not that remote from actual experience. And if that started happening, all bets are off as to what the possibilities are for the source of that kind of meaning and experience. Could be geeks sitting at some computer terminal in another reality simulating a world like ours. Could be something funkier than that.
God, Allah, the source or the force, aliens or an AI-governed matrix. And if you think this is all crazy, then I'm guessing you'd be better off not going for a doctorate in physics. Just saying. Call it whatever you wish. Personally, I have no idea. But his sentiment, along with the frogs in my throat, definitely resonate. See, evolution was a sage, because she knew there is no more convincing a lie than the one we believe. So she created ego, the closet within which we can pile all of our skeletons and padlock them away forever, and the rug under which can be swept any unself-serving aspects of reality that we would prefer not to see. But reality and our affinity for technology has caught up to us, and we have painted ourselves into a corner with inconvenient truths. They are slow to dry, and it is raining, and water everywhere, not a drop to drink. But why do we need to lie? Fear. We think individuation, in the Jungian sense, is the abyss, but it is bliss. To genuinely, thoroughly care for others without the slightest care for their opinions. What wears the mask of a psychical death, which is how I've read it in some textbooks, the existential fear, is in reality, as Terence McKenna posited, a feather bed. There is no way around the rabbit hole. The only way is wanting to know. Inter and intrapersonally. The only way is through. Peace.